All right, today we're going to break down the 5 interconnected pillars of technology that are, well, they're completely reshaping our world. We're talking about everything from the invisible stuff that runs your favorite apps to the AI that's literally starting to think for itself. We're going to see how it all clicks together.
Think about the last app you used. It probably felt smooth, super intuitive, maybe even a little bit like magic. But underneath that slick, shiny surface, there's this incredibly complex, hidden architecture. So today, we're going to build that whole structure from the ground up, piece by piece, so you can see how modern tech really works.
So here's the game plan. We're starting with the invisible foundation, the bedrock. Then we'll look at the philosophy that actually guides it. After that, we'll add a layer of intelligence, learn the language it all speaks, and finally, figure out how we protect the whole shebang.
Okay, first up, the cloud-native foundation. You can think of this as the bedrock, the hidden architecture that makes basically everything else you use every day even possible.
So, what on earth is cloud native? Well, it's a whole philosophy for building applications specifically for the cloud. This isn't about just, taking some old piece of software and plopping it on a cloud server. No, this is about designing it from day one to take full advantage of everything the cloud has to offer.
Let's look at the core building blocks here. Instead of one giant monolithic program, cloud-native apps use something called microservices. These are little, independent pieces that each do one job and do it really well. And each one gets packed into a container, which is like a virtual box that lets it run anywhere. The whole process is glued together by APIs and managed through DevOps, which is really a culture of automation that keeps things moving fast. And the ground it all stands on? That's immutable infrastructure, which just means servers get replaced instead of patched up, making the whole system incredibly stable.
And this, right here, shows a really crucial difference. Cloud native means an app was basically born and raised in the cloud. Cloud-enabled is more like an old app that was dragged and dropped there. The native version is just way more resilient, flexible, and efficient because it was designed for that environment from the very beginning.
Okay, so we've got the technical foundation laid. Now we can start building on top of it. But what we build is guided by a philosophy. Our second pillar is all about designing for actual people, moving beyond what's just technically possible to focus on why we're building it and who we're building it for. For the longest time, software was all system-centric. Did it work? Was it fast? Great, that's all that mattered. But this shift to human-centric design, it's profound. Now we ask, how does this make the user feel? Is it actually intuitive? Does it solve their problem in a way that doesn't make them want to pull their hair out? It's a huge move from pure function to focusing on the human experience.
And look, this isn't just some fluffy, vague idea. It's a really rigorous process. It all starts with empathy, like really understanding the user. That understanding then informs the entire user experience. And crucially, it means building for everyone through accessibility, and then constantly refining the product based on what real users are telling you. Okay, so we have our cloud-native foundation, and we have our human-centric philosophy. Now, let's add the next layer, a brain. Let's add autonomous intelligence. The big, huge, critical difference with AI agents is one word: autonomy. A chatbot just sits there and waits for you to ask a question. An AI agent, on the other hand, can be given a goal, like, hey, plan a trip to Tokyo for me and keep it within this budget. And it can go out, research flights, compare hotels, book the tickets, all on its own without needing you to sign off on every little step. To really get a picture of this, just think of JRVIS from the movies. He wasn't an assistant that just answered questions. He actively helped, he anticipated needs, he carried out super complex tasks. That's the vision for agentic AI. But, and this is a huge but, giving AI this level of autonomy is a massive, massive step. And honestly, it opens up a whole Pandora's box of very, very serious concerns.
First up, and it's the one everyone talks about, job displacement. Tasks that once needed a whole team of people could potentially just be automated away. I mean, if an AI agent can autonomously handle data entry, customer service, or even complex research, what does that mean for the millions of people whose jobs are built on those exact skills? Next, you've got this really thorny problem of algorithmic bias. See, an AI agent learns from the data we feed it. So if our historical data is full of societal biases in things like hiring or lending, well, the agent is going to learn those same biases. Its autonomous decisions could end up systematically discriminating against entire groups of people, basically amplifying unfairness on a massive scale. And security? Oh man, it's a monumental risk.
Just imagine for a second if a bad actor got control of an autonomous AI agent that manages a power grid, or a financial market, or a hospital's patient records. The potential for catastrophic, real-world damage is unlike anything we've ever had to defend against.
And finally, there's the fundamental risk of just losing control. As these AI systems get more and more complex and their decision-making becomes more of a black box, how do we make sure there's meaningful human oversight? We could end up building systems that operate way beyond our ability to understand them or to step in if they start to go wrong.
You know, all of this, the cloud, the AI, all of it, it all runs on one thing: data. And that's our fourth pillar. It is the new language we all have to learn to speak if we want to navigate this new world.
The sheer scale of it is almost impossible to wrap your head around. The world is on track to create 181 zettabytes of data in a single year. To try and put that in perspective, if you stored all that on Blu-ray discs, the stack would reach the moon 23 times. We're just drowning in an ocean of data.
Look, having all that data is one thing, but being able to actually make sense of it, to find the real signal in all that noise, that's a completely different challenge.
And that's exactly where this idea of data literacy comes in. And listen, it's not about everyone needing to become a data scientist. It's about having the basic skills to read data, to question it, and to use it to make smarter decisions, whatever your job is. It really is the new universal language of the digital age.
All right, we've built this incredible, intelligent, data-driven structure. So for our fifth and final pillar, we have to ask the most important question of all. How in the world do we protect it?
When it comes to security, you can really think of it as two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got cybersecurity. These are the defenders. They're the ones building the walls, monitoring the gates, and setting the rules to keep everything safe. Then, on the other side, you have ethical hacking, the authorized attackers. Their job is to think like the enemy and find the holes in the wall before the real bad guys do. Now, what's so fascinating here is the difference in mindset. The defender is always asking, how do we keep them out? They're focused on building this robust, comprehensive defense. But the ethical hacker asks a totally different question. How could I get in? They take this adversarial, probing approach. And you absolutely, positively need both. The offense makes the defense smarter, and together they create a much stronger, more resilient system. So there you have it. The cloud-native foundation, the human-centric philosophy, the rise of AI agents, the language of data, and that constant battle between defenders and attackers. These are the 5 pillars that are building our digital future. And the question this leaves us with is, well, it's a big one. Are we actually architecting a future that balances all of these forces? One that's not just powerful and intelligent, but also fundamentally humane and secure? That's the challenge ahead of us.